won't I? There. So how do we think? It's a good question. Was never asked that question when I was growing up, never asked that question when I was going to school. They didn't teach me how to think, they taught me what to think. So how do we think? Simple, we think in pictures. Think of a house, image pops on the screen of your mind. Think of an airplane, image pops on the screen of your mind. And the more clarity you have with the image on the screen of your mind, the less confusion that there is. Pretty simple. But let's talk about this thing called the magical graphic. The magical graphic. What the heck is the magical graphic? It's so magical. I want it on the wall behind me. And really, it's the mind. See, we have a mind and a body. Now, you've heard that before. You have a mind and a body. Now, I'd never seen, I call it this thing the stick man. I've never seen a stick man with a head this big and a body this small. But to get all the graphics in, you can see why they did it this way, right? You have a conscious and a subconscious. We've heard those terms as well. Now, this is the cool part. This is where it starts to get really, really interesting, is that the conscious mind is the thinking mind. And the subconscious mind, that's the part that's the emotions. The emotions and feeling, they kind of go hand in hand. Emotions and feeling. You're become emotional, it is a big feeling, right? So those are the different parts. I notice the thinking mind is like, think of an airplane, and the emotional mind is the feeling part of it. So does that mean the thinking mind is there and the emotional part is this thing, the subconscious mind? That's what they say. The subconscious mind is actually each cell of the being, right? So in our thinking mind, you can choose anything you want to think about. Nobody can force us to think something we don't want to think. You can think positive, you can think negative. You can think things are simple, you can think things are difficult. It's totally your choice to think whatever the heck you want to think. It doesn't matter. But make no mistake, thinking these thoughts repetitively, like what's happening in the programming and the conditioning of us, those thoughts cause feelings. And it's the feelings that rush right through this thing called a body, the feelings that become expressed in actions. And then the actions, of course, produce something called what? A result. So think about it. If you really want to enhance the quality of the results, we really have to grab control of this thing called the mind because it's all about the mind. How many times have you heard that? It's a mental game. It's a mental game. I can only, I, everything we've been taught, everything, success is a mental game. It's all about the mind, your marvelous mind, and what we choose to do with it because it is a choice. You see, here we are, and we got this stick man thing right here in front of us again, right? And the creative power that's flowing to you, called energy, is neither positive or negative. It just is. Now, what's really cool is you and I have a choice. With this positive or negative, we can think anything we want. So when we wake up in the morning and we instantly become consciously aware that we're awake, our mind starts going. It's going the whole time. We just catch up with it. We catch it. We catch up. Is it positive or is it negative? Because that's a choice you make. If it's negative, flip it to the positive. Think of the identity you're creating. Think of where you're going. Think of your dreams, your aspirations. You know, if you're following this book, Think and Grow Rich, you do the 6 steps. Do the sixth step and control that thing so you're thinking the positive ideas. But see, any idea that we think repetitively over and over again, if we'll turn that over to the subconscious mind, oh, I blew that. Huh. Hmm. Oh, it's a timed slide. The animation's got me. The animation's got me. It's all about your mind. It's all about your marvelous mind. Your marvelous mind. This marvelous mind that we all have. And see, let's take a look at this stickman thing another way. See, we that creative power that's flowing to and through all of us is neither positive or negative, it just is. The energy is flowing to us. See, and it's up to you and I to do whatever we want with this energy. So when you first wake up in the morning, you notice your mind is already going and you kind of catch up with it. and you can catch up with it, and you can do anything you want with this energy. Think any idea you want. So when you wake up in the morning, you can be tired, lethargic, you can be popped up, ready to go, active. You can read your story if you're following Think and Grow Rich. You got the sixth step out of chapter two. Read that story, and now you're controlling your mind. And as you control your mind over and over again, that idea now is turned over to the subconscious part of us, the being, the feeling, and then it must be turned into physical form to and through us into results. It doesn't have a choice. You see, anything that we're repetitively over and over and over and over again placing on the subconscious, it must be turned into physical form to and through us. So look at your life. Anything going on in your life, it doesn't matter what the hell it is, or how nasty it is, or how wonderful it may be, it doesn't matter. Guess what? It's gone through this process. Every bit of it. Now, as we build our life and go forward, we have a choice. See, some people use the word goal, and the word goal has become so watered down. Let's talk about a commitment, a real commitment. And you can make an A-type commitment, something you already know how to do. You already know how to do it. So, for example, if you already drive and this is just an example, you already drive a certain type of sedan, and that's a goal to get that. You already know how to get that car at that price point. Okay, that's an A-type goal. A B-type goal or a B-type commitment is something you think you can do it. Yeah, I know I can do this. But what you really want to do, what we all really want to learn how to do, is to stretch ourselves and stretch into this C-type commitment. And this is what you really want to do. This is who you really want to become. This is what you really want to accomplish. Is it 8,000 a day, 8,000 a month, 8,000 a year? Well, what is it? 88 grand a month? What is it for you? What is it? And you may not even know how, but you know you will because you know the why behind it. You know you're going to pull it off. You absolutely know it's going to take place. And you know it's going to take place, and getting started seems to be so damn hard. Oh my God, how do I get started? How do I get started? How do I get started? And even before we get started, just by thinking about it, we run into this thing called the terror barrier because it's outside of our comfort zone. It's something we've never done. We all go through this. Watch kids. They didn't come out of mom that way, but watch as they age a little bit and they start to risk a little bit more, less, a little bit less. Some of them more, most of them less. See, when they had no problem, when it was time to walk, they were walking. Walk next to the steps, no big deal. Now, I know you don't let them fall down the steps, but you get my point. We teach kids fear, but we run into this terror barrier just at the thought of it because this happens. See, our behavior or action will give us the results, right? And the behavior patterns or actions they're really being caused by the kind of ideas that are in the subconscious part of our being. How do we feel? That's what's causing the behavior patterns. And it's in the subconscious, it's not in the conscious mind. So in other words, you could have this great idea. But if that idea doesn't get into the subconscious mind to create a vibration and an action, that feeling, vibration, emotion, same thing, then you'll never get the intelligent action required to have that idea, that positive idea of what you want, actually come into fruition. This is what happens in most cases. The ideas come from an outside source. And usually from an outside source through the five physical senses, it's negative. That's proven once again. That's scientifically proven. Study after study after study will tell you most all the information you receive from an outside source is negative. It's always competition, competing here, competing there. That's negative, right? So that's an idea. Is that repetitively going in there over and over and over again with no conscious thought? Because remember, if that's what's happening, that'll create that vibration or feeling in the body, in the subconscious, the body moves into action to produce results we don't want. So we get this negative idea, or we put it there ourselves. But a lot of times negative ideas fly in from the outside. They work right into the subconscious part of our being and we feel it. And it could be a thought you woke up with. Well, if we get emotionally involved with it, we're sending it out. And as we send it out, guess what we attract? Negative happenings. Closings don't take place. This fell through. That fell through. Whatever it may be. And it's all because this negative idea, we got emotionally involved with it somehow, some way, created a feeling, and we sent that out. You ever hear whatever you send out comes back tenfold? It happens. So this negative idea comes flying in here, tries to get in there, works itself in there pretty good. But here's the problem with a lot of times. We put that idea there ourselves, and we get emotionally involved with it ourselves. Well, if the energy coming into us, as we talked about a little earlier, that energy's coming in is neither positive or negative. If somehow it wants to go negative, all we have to do is reject the negative and install the positive. That's all we have to do. Not hard. It does take some mental strength. You got to get emotionally involved with it. You will vibrate. You send that out instead of the other nasty negative stuff. This takes a level of awareness that most people don't even have. You can have it. It's not hard. I quit school in the eighth grade, folks. All I did was read this book a few times. Well, 30 years, a few times. But and oh, by the way, you can join us if you want to. I don't know if you want that in there. What else? So what's happened is we're all programmed, and we have this conditioning in us, this X energy. So let's just whatever you're conditioned with, doesn't matter where you grew up, who raised you, whatever else. All of us have this thing called X. So what happens is we choose the X-type thoughts that are in harmony with the X-type energy because we choose to think the way we've been conditioned to think. But we're really not choosing to think that way. It becomes a habit, folks. And the habit happens automatically, whether you're thinking about it or not, over and 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 over again. It's called auto-suggestion. It's automatically happening over and over again. And it's all conditioning. And we have the conscious mind, and we have the subconscious mind, and the X energy is buried in the subconscious mind, so it's in the cells of our being. And we choose these X-type thoughts that are in harmony with it. Whatever those X-type thoughts are. Here, let's just use this as an example that we were taught maybe money's a struggle, it's hard to come by, so the results are 25 grand. You see, what happens is the X-type results are caused by the X-type habit patterns. The habit patterns are buried in the being, and then the X-type energy that's programmed in the subconscious mind is absolutely in control of what we're doing. As we become aware of that, we can do something different. Get out of our comfort zone a little bit. Because what it really comes down to is just a $25,000 a year X-type conditioning in this example. And then somebody comes along and says, well, you can do $250,000 or $225,000 a year. That's not hard. Quite simple. No big deal. I mean, folks, I sold 92 houses my first year. It's not that hard. Some of you are going, what? It's not that hard. Some of you are going, that's all. So where did you come see? All I had to do was I had to change that conditioning a bit, not dramatically, not massively, just a little bit at a time, a little bit. Because I had a mentor tell me you can easily make $250,000 a year, but my conditioning rejected the idea right away. I went right back to, nah, can't do that. No way. No, no, no. And see, what we want to do is recognize that the energy we are conditioned with is negative relative to the energy we want to be conditioned with. So we have to recondition. Now, it doesn't mean that all of us are bad or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. If we want a different result, it's going to require a reconditioning of the mind to think a different way. It's not that hard to understand. It's really simple. And then we step out to do this reconditioning thing, and we all have to go through this because we have a choice. We can either continue to step forward into growth, or we end up stepping backward into safety. And that's a choice all of us make. Because here's how it all begins. It begins in this thing called bondage. And what bondage is a self-imposed prison. That's all it is. And we live in this little bitty comfort zone. And on the negative side, we have the ignorance, the worry, doubt, fear, anxiety, and we kind of get stuck there. And then some people say, you know what? I'm not living that way. I'm not going to stay here. I'm going to gain knowledge. I'm going to get an understanding, not just knowledge. I want an understanding. I want an understanding of how to think and grow rich. I want an understanding of this stuff, man. And then they develop faith, true faith in here, not faith in religion, not just faith in here. What's 5 times 5? How much faith do you have in your ability to answer that question? That's the faith I'm talking about. Now we have health and wealth in the being as we take the appropriate action. However, we're still getting the X results. Why? Because it's the habit patterns. It's all X related. Now we got this idea and we step into reason. And reason, we still have the X conditioning. That hasn't gone away. Remember, it's in there. It's not going anywhere. It's going to stay there. It's there, which means the body wants to take the X action to give us the X result. That's all habit. Habit over and over again. Just watch people, folks. Just watch people, and you can see how much habit is in control of their life. They're not thinking, it's all habit. But then we come along and you get this why idea. Hey man, maybe I can make 225,000 a year. Maybe I can double my income and work less hours. Maybe I can do that. That's a why idea going against an X program. And as soon as you get the idea, as soon as the idea happens, terror shows up and we start to feel weird, man. What's going on? I don't understand that. I didn't understand that. You might not understand that. You probably know what I'm talking about though. When that terror barrier shows up, buddy, and it's there. And here's why it's there, and here's why it's so strong. The X programming is in control, make no mistake. The X programming being in control wants us to take an X action to give us an X result. That's habit. That's the being. You've heard this. Your body wants to remain right where it is. The being wants to just be a creature of habit, a creature of habit. But what if you want to earn more money? What if you want to take better vacations? What if you want to have more order in your life or have better relationships? And that X programming isn't providing that for you, then you better get a Y idea so you can have it. But that Y idea has to get down in there and mix with that X programming. And that's done through repetition of reading the story over and over again. What's 5 times 5? How much faith do you have? You see, you do the same thing with this story, this Y idea, whatever it may be. 88 grand every month, whatever it may be. 88 grand every month, 88 grand every day, 88 grand every week, whatever it is for you, it doesn't matter. But what happens is when it starts to mix in the subconscious and it gets in there and starts percolating around with that X programming and that Y idea is trying to override it. Oh, hell breaks loose. This foreign vibration we're not used to. Worry, doubt, fear, and anxiety set in, and boom, right back to our comfort zone we go. How many times have you done it in your life? Why would we continue to live that way when we know this is happening over and over again? Oh, by the way, this happened when you learned how to walk and when you learned how to ride a bicycle. You did the same thing. You just didn't stop. You did this thing called crash through the terror barrier. You didn't stop. Nobody watching this is laying on their back going, gosh, I guess I'm not going to walk in this lifetime, mom and dad. I'm just going to lay here. I've fallen down 14 times today. I'm not doing it anymore. No, you crash through the terror barrier, man. You go and you get to that freedom that you're looking for. And the freedom isn't hard to get to. It's when the why idea becomes the why conditioning. And now we've got the new conditioning. We take the why action, we get the why result. And it's through the repetition of getting emotionally involved with that new why idea. Then that paradigm and conditioning is altered and we end up with a new outcome. That was good too. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it wasn't bad. You had to chop it up a little bit.
Yeah, it was good. It's supposed to chop up when I have to edit some stuff, like in that towards the beginning or 10 minutes into it. That yeah,
Yeah, I messed up.
it had that little mess up
I messed up.
because of the animation or whatever.
Yeah, it was the slide. The slide. I once again. That's why to practice this stuff. Where is that slide actually? That's not it. It's back further before the slide. Yeah, it's back here. I thought. Yeah, it's in here. Boom. This one. That one's timed, I think. Time there. If I don't do anything, is it going to move? No, I have to click the next one. Once I click that one, okay, then on my cheater screen, it's telling me the very last thing it says. That's where I messed up. Because what's on my cheater screen is not what you're going to see right there.
Yeah,
Once that idea is turned over to your subconscious mind, it must be turned into physical form to and through you. It doesn't have a choice. Yeah, that slide I need to work on that, or just take the timer out of the animations. I can do that too. Pull the timer out of the animations, and then I can do it on my own, which I like better anyway. I can do this slide a lot better because as you stretch yourself, that thing hits. 88,000 bucks a month. 88,000 a month, 88,000 a month, 12 people every week. Sales team, sales team, sales team. Eight people, eight quality people who make phone calls every day for us, for themselves, for the people we help. And this one, it's different than the way I do it, but I didn't chop it up. I didn't tear it up too bad. I don't think I tore this up too bad either. I don't like all of this stuff. I like what he does here. Yeah, that's what we do. Because there's only two known ways to change a paradigm, that conditioning thing we got going. First of all, is the constant spaced repetition of ideas that are kind of opposite to the paradigm. And of course, we have the personal experience of some sort of an emotional impact. Now, this is why repetition is so critical when you want to change your paradigms or conditioning or get a different result. Repetition over and over and over again. Let's say the white line above right here, that represents the sound of a CD playing. So this is the sound of a CD playing. And this red line, that represents us actually listening to the song. And then we go so far in this particular CD, and boom, an idea hits our head. Somebody beeps the horn, whatever. We're distracted away from the song we're listening to because we're up here on a little bit of a mind trip for a little while. See, this is a thought frequency. We're thinking about an idea, whatever it may be, but we're really not listening any longer. Oh, boom, then something happens. They say something different during the song, and oh, yeah, we're back down to the CD. And then something else happens in the traffic. Well, okay, we got to go back up in here, and we're thinking again about the traffic. And see, our mind is all over the place. And this is why repetition is so important. The last time you watched a movie, you watched for so long, and boom, you were somewhere else. And then something they did something okay, they came back to the movie. And then boom, you were gone again. And then you came back to the movie, and boom, you were gone again. It came back to the movie. And this happens over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Your mind's constantly out on distracted mind trips. They say you could watch the same movie at the same hour every day for 30 days straight. And on day 31, you'll find something you've never seen before because your mind is constantly distracted by something, always. And this is what's happening. That's why repetition is so necessary. Think about this. What's 5 times 5? How would you know that if you didn't repetitively go to math class over and over and over and over and over again? This repetition is why it's so important to role play, why it's so important to be into practice, why it's so important. Why? Because the first time you go through, your mind went on a trip in these places. What about the next time you watch that movie, or the next time you're in that role play, or the next time something happens? See, your mind goes on a trip in a different place. However, However, if you study it repetitively long enough, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, eventually it'll all come together and it makes complete sense. And now you're doing it by habit. And this is a good habit because it's one that you've created on purpose by design. Is that what you wanted? You want something different? You want a different tonality? You want me to be more jovial?
Uh, yeah, do that again.
Simple.
So have fun with it. You laugh, be matter of fact, be
Hey,
real.
Joshy boy, there's only two known ways to change this thing called a paradigm. Now, when I first heard this thing paradigm, I thought I had two dimes in my hand. I had to rub them together. That's where my mind was. I didn't know what the heck they were talking about. Paradigm. It's conditioning. It's how we've been conditioned. We've all been conditioned to believe certain things about ourselves, certain things about society, certain things about money, certain things about the way we treat other people. We've all conditioned to believe that. That's our paradigm, okay? Now, there's only two known ways to change it or to alter it a little bit. And in any area of our life, if we want a different result, we get the privilege of altering this thing called a paradigm a little bit, okay? And we can do a couple of things. We can do the constant spaced repetition, of an idea that's the opposite of the conditioning, or the personal experience of some emotional impact. Now, number one is more reliable than number two. We all know people who have had some sort of a surgery or something, some trauma to the body. And 6, 8 months later, they're back to doing the same thing over and over again. Same thing, same thing. However, the spaced repetition of an idea, that'll alter that conditioning a little bit. So we change the habit because the habit's really in control of what we do every day. Okay. So this is why repetition is so necessary when changing that thing called a paradigm. And it's so necessary. So it's critical. Let's say this white line here, that represents the sound of a CD playing. And then the white, and then shit. Let's go back. I got to change. I want to change that. I hate the CD playing analogy. Stop the share. Stop the damn share.
Oh,
Wait for that, huh? Now, there's only two known ways to change conditioning or what they call a paradigm. Now, when I first heard the word paradigm, I thought it was two dimes you rubbing together. It's like, what are you talking about, a pair of dimes? What do we need that for? Not what they were talking about. It's conditioning. It's the habits we have. We've all been conditioned to believe certain things about certain things, right? You've been conditioned to act a certain way, respect certain things. You've been conditioned to think certain ways about money, about a job, your work ethic. You've been conditioned all these ways. Now, there's only two known ways to change this. And oh, by the way, if you want anything new in your life, anything different, this has to change a little bit. It's what we get to do. That's just the way it is. So the first way is the constant spaced repetition of an idea that's kind of opposite of the way we've been conditioned, okay? Now the second is the personal experience of some emotional impact. Now number one is more reliable than number two, okay? So let's go with number one, constant spaced repetition of an idea that's essentially opposite to the way we've been conditioned, to the paradigm, okay? Now this is why repetition is so necessary if we want to alter that thing and change it just a little bit so we can get a different outcome somewhere in our life. Let's say that white line right here represents a movie playing. And this red line now represents us actually paying attention to the movie. We're paying attention to it. And then somebody's phone goes ding-a-ling, or we hear the vibration, or whatever it may be, and our mind is now up here on a little thought trip for a little while. And while we're up here on this little thought trip for a little while, understand that movie is continuing to go. It's not stopping. So our mind is over here thinking about something else. The movie continues. Oh, that's right. Something happened. We're watching the movie. We're back down here paying attention again. And then we go so far and we're up on a thought trip again. And this is happening over and over and over again. Through a 2 hour movie, this could happen 20, 30 times. Happening over and over and over again. Over and over, over and over, over and over. And you know this is taking place. You know, studies say you could watch the same movie at the same time every day for 30 days straight. And on day 31, you'll see something you've never seen before. Holy smokes, man. We're distracted that much. Our mind is always on little mind trips. So if we want to really understand something like what is 5 times 5, and you want to develop the habit of knowing what that answer is and having faith in your own ability to answer that question, it takes repetition over and over again. Yeah, have you ever read a book and you get to the bottom of a page and you get to the bottom of a page and wonder, what in the heck did I just read? See, all that happened is your mind went on a little mind trip. That's all. No big deal. But what happens when the movie, say you watch the movie the second, the third time, what happens is your mind goes on a mind trip somewhere else and it comes back somewhere else. And that's why you could go to the same movie every day for 30 days straight and see something different on day 31. And if we keep studying over and over again, and we keep studying, we keep role playing, we keep building our skills, we keep utilizing the skill development process, eventually it'll all come together. We'll open our mouth and it'll just roll out. Like any professional who practices a script over and over and over again, eventually they have to get in front of the camera. And they're just being that person, they're being that script, but what they do is they take that script and they make it theirs. And they combine that with their personality. And they become that person. They become that. And that's what we're all working to do, is to become the better version of ourselves. And it's going to take repetition over and over and over and over and over again. And oh, by the way, that is how you kick the ass of the terror barrier. And maybe not didn't give you enough of a pause if you wanted to delete that last part. That was a message from God. I don't even know where that came from.
But yeah, get through it, see what I can work with there.
That will kick the ass of the terror. Stop your scrolling. Well, I would truly, I got to ask a question. What are you scrolling for? You just, this tool right here can make you millions and millions of dollars. No BS. Millions of dollars. I quit school in the eighth grade. I've made millions of dollars with this thing by picking up the phone and calling somebody who has a need for my service. So stop the scrolling, man. Use the tool that can help you get where you want to be. Something like that. You want longer? You want shorter?
Yeah.
Well, you're scrolling. The hell are you accomplishing? Scrolling? How much is that paying you? Sometimes we need the adult slap. And maybe you just got it. I hope so, because it'll wake you up. And if we slapped hard enough and it woke you up enough, you'll pull your head out of your ass enough and you'll start to use this thing as a tool to make a lot of money instead of a tool to scroll. Because this thing can make you a fortune or it can cost you a fortune. What is it doing in your life? The fool, the professional, hi, my name is, or whatever script you may be following. Do it professionally. Skill development. Mindset first, skill development second, systems third. Without a system, you'd be flying by the seat of your pants. But what are you doing scrolling? Come on, wake up. Use this as the tool it's designed to be used for and make yourself a whole bunch of money so you can take care of the little one's braces or the arm that gets broken in a baseball game. You had plenty of cash to take care of these things instead of wondering when the next commission's coming. Oh my gosh. Know for sure when it's coming. No, it's coming every month. Three, four of them every month, every month, every month. Why? Because you know how to use this. You know what to do with this. You're not scrolling like the fool. You're using it like the professional. What are you doing with your day? Ooh, play that for yourself, will you?